and I'm really glad to have you. This is so awkward. What do I do? Welcome to the very first episode of the Crafty Kristina podcast. My name is Kristina, and I'm crafty. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am very excited. I'm finding very quickly that this is my third time filming this, and I feel so awkward, so please bear with me. But this is something that I have been wanting to do for a very long time. This podcast is going to be following all of my knitting adventures. I have been knitting for, 8 years, I think. I'm 26 now, well, I'll be 26, and I started knitting when I was 18. A bit about my backstory. I knew knitting existed, I guess, but I never really thought about doing it, and I majored in musical theater in college, and we had a lot of downtime during performances and during rehearsal periods, and I was in a show called You're in Town. It's pretty funny. If you haven't heard of it and you're interested in musicals, you should look it up. But one of my castmates during a rehearsal was knitting. And I said, "Girl, what are you doing?" And she said, "Girl, I'm knitting." Okay, that's not really how it went, I'm sure. But basically, her mom had taught her how to knit, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to learn. So she taught me. And, there started my journey of really poorly knitted scarves and blankets and more scarves and dishcloths and really scratchy, crappy yarn. And over the years, it has really been very fun and therapeutic for me, and I really loved knitting for other people. And within the last year or so, in these crazy pandemic times, I've really amped it up and have really started learning new things like socks and sweaters. And so I just wanted a space where I could share all of my makes and track my progress and maybe have some new internet knitting friends, because I don't really have many in real life. Don't know many people that are knitters. So maybe all of you can hold me accountable for what you'll see here in a few minutes are months or year-old whips that I really should finish, but I just don't want to. So if I keep looking down, I have notes here because I want to keep on track. Again, this is my first episode, so I was trying to figure out what I should show you, and I have decided that I'm going to start with all of my whips. So let's get into it. I have got a cup of coffee and a Christmas mug. No shame, Christmas all year long for me. It's my favorite holiday time of year. I don't really like the snow, but I love Christmas and all of the joy that it brings and spending time with loved ones. And maybe there's peppermint mocha coffee in here. No shame if you're like me. But go ahead and get yourself a drink or a snack or some water. And let's get into my whips. So what you don't see are the piles and piles of whips around me. I figured I would start with sort of my active whips, and then I'll get into the ones that have been, I'll just show you, in a bin and neglected for a while. So let's start with socks. So I'm sure many of you are participating in summer sock camp with Kay, the crazy sock lady. I have been attempting to sock knit all summer long. And let me get out my socks here. I've got quite a few things cast on. I will share that I actually learned to knit socks this year in January. I was in Nitty Natty's membership, and she was hosting a brioche along or a new to you knit along, and everyone in the group was knitting socks, and I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's knitting socks. I don't know how to knit socks. I want to knit socks. And so I knit a pair of socks, and maybe have an unhealthy sock addiction now. So I decided to do summer sock camp. I'm trying to pull out all of my socks because there's quite a few. And I will share with you that my boyfriend's family, I'll call them my in-laws because we have been together for so long that their family is basically my family now. So my in-laws, the lady in-laws, have all requested socks. And so his mom, my boyfriend's mom, and his grandma, and his aunt, and now his other grandma, and his brother's girlfriends, and his brother's wife, and the list goes on and on. Everyone wants socks. And that's just on their side of the family. So I decided that, okay, I measured their feet, and I told them if they picked out the yarn, I told them the requirements. I said, go pick out some yarn, send it to me, and I'll make you some socks. So my summer has been dedicated to knitting socks for the in-laws, the lady in-laws. Unfortunately, I have actually already finished a pair. I'll show you the yarn for it, and I've shipped it off. And so the mother-in-law, I don't know where she has them, but I don't have the finished objects. But if you want to follow me on my Instagram, I did post a picture of it there. I called them my Oopsie Gusset socks. And maybe I'll get into that a different time, but not today. Basically, I made an oopsie the rest of the way through the gusset and then the foot, and it was really... Anyway, she didn't know the difference, but why don't you drop a comment below if you want to hear the oopsie gusset story, because I'll tell you, it's pretty funny. But this is the yarn that she chose. I'll show it here. This is, I can't recall the colorway right now, but it is a Knit Picks colorway. And it did some really interesting like pooling and micro striping. It was really cute. So again, there's a photo on my Instagram, and there's also on my project page on Ravelry. You'll see there's, I think they're called Julie's Socks #1 on my Ravelry page. You can go and check them out there. But I finished those a few weeks ago. The other socks I have cast on these are for my boyfriend's aunt. And this is a little bit awkward. Does anybody else do this? Instead of using stoppers, I just poke it through the ball of yarn. But this is sort of my own sock recipe. It's loosely based off of the Crazy Sock Ladies 9-inch circular pattern. And also there is a free pattern on Ravelry from the Unapologetic Knitter. And so I've kind of loosely based my sock recipe off of those two patterns. I do a knit 2 purl 2 rib up here, and then I like to do 50 rounds for the leg. I do a modified Eye of Partridge heel, and then I just knit the foot, and then I do a regular schmegular toe. So that's the first one, and I have a second one cast on here again on 9-inch circulars. And I've been trying to work them in tandem on 9-inch circulars each, because I am learning socks new. I found that it's been... I think there's a cat in the room. Hold on. Are you trying to get out? don't have to. She doesn't want to be alone. I'll leave the door open. Something I didn't mention is that my boyfriend and I recently relocated back to the area where our families live. And I'm going to leave that in because that was really funny. So anyway, we're staying at the in-laws' house right now because we just moved back literally 2 weeks ago. And so we're looking to find a place. And so in the transitional period, they were so gracious to let us stay here. So, I mean, in my opinion, it's worth the sock knitting, don't you think? But they have 2 cats, and it is raining outside right now. It's storming, actually, so I'm not sure if you can hear the thunder, but it's been a little rumbly outside. And one of their cats has been following me around the house all morning long, and I don't know if it's because she doesn't like storms. I don't really know, but she followed me up here into the bedroom to podcast with me, and so I wanted that door closed. But she was sitting behind me the entire time and was just knocking on the door. So I went to let her out, and she looked at me like, really, aren't you gonna come? So I'll leave it open if she wants to come in. Her name's Baby. If she makes a guest appearance, I'll try to pick her up to show you. Anyway, so where was I? Socks. Okay, so that's where I was. So since I'm a new-ish sock knitter, I'm still trying to get the hang of the gusset and the heel flap and the toe and the not vanilla knitting, you know? So I found that it's been really helpful for me to cast on 2 socks and then work the cuff and then do another cuff and then do the leg and then do another leg and then do the heel and so on and so forth. Because it gives me more than one chance to practice and memorize and get the hang of new techniques. So those are these socks. The colorway is called Pittsburgh Spice Latte, and it is by Flower Hill Fleeces, which is local. We're in the Pittsburgh area now, which is local to here. And it is really lovely. It's on, I can't remember the base, but it's like a yak base or something. And it is so soft. And then for the grandma, she has picked this Hedgehog Fibers colorway. And again, knit 2 purl 2 rib, 50 rounds for the leg. Modified Eye of Partridge. Well, I'm not doing a very good job of showing that. Heel. And then I do the heel flap and gusset just because it fits really well. It's really not my favorite. I'd like to learn another type of heel. And I'll show you. I haven't started the heel on this one yet. But let me take this down, see if I can show you a little better here. So that is that. I'd like to have them done by the end of summer sock camp, which is the end of August, I think. So I'm really unmotivated to work on these socks right now. But, you know, I do have a deadline that I'd like to get them done by, so I'm hoping that they'll both pairs will be done by the end of the month. The last sock that I have to show is a sock I cast on for myself. I decided to cast on some Halloween socks. And this is what they look like. I'm going to do this beautiful purple for a contrast heel toe cuff. I've only got 1 needle. That's not true. I have another needle somewhere, but it's misplaced. I cast on this because I only had 1 needle available at the time, but these are for myself. I can't recall the colorways, but I know that it is by Teeny Button. I really love her dye style. I love the speckles. When she does her totals, I really love them. She was doing a moving mystery sale, and I ordered some yarn from her for that, and twice actually. And the second time she sent me these two, and so I thought they'd make a really, really fun pair. I mean, come on, aren't those fun? So I think I'm going to experiment this time with doing a longer leg so that they're a bit higher now that I'm back in a colder climate. I was in Vegas for 5 years before we moved back. I really am excited to be knitting all of the socks and all of the knits to wear as the colder season approaches. So I'm going to experiment with doing a longer sock for those to keep me warm. So I think that's all for that. The other semi-active whip that I have is the Pebble Tunic by Joji Locatelli. And that's the back. This is the front, and this is where I'm at with it. I'm knitting the size medium. This really lovely lavender. Not sure if you can see that. So I have gotten, I would like to say I'm probably about halfway looking at this through the body. And it's just been on the back burner. We've been in the process of moving for what feels like 2 months now. So a lot of my knitting has gone on the back burner, but I found this pattern. I really love tunic style shirts. Something that's loose, really long and cozy, and your girl loves pockets, okay? And so I was looking to start my very first sweater ever, and I found this pattern by Joji, the Pebble Tunic, and fell in love and searched and searched and searched and searched for what color to do. And after what felt like probably 6 months of searching, I decided on a lavender, but I couldn't find, I really wanted to do it in indie dyed yarn. So I wanted for my first sweater to try and find a yarn that was similar to what Joji used in her pattern. I'm lining some yarn up right now. But just so happened to be browsing on webs one day and looking at their closeout sales, and I found this colorway, and it was the perfect lavender that I had been searching for. So I think I got this for like $3 a ball, and it is Cloudborne Fibers Alpaca Blend DK in lavender. It is discontinued now, I think, but the color is 51-155 and the dye lot is 64H. And it is 70% alpaca, 30% nylon, and it is a DK weight. So I will show you this. But it is really soft, and that's really what I was looking for. I wanted something soft. I wanted something cozy. I know that there are a lot of fall garment make-alongs happening. I know Nitty Natty has one happening. I think Joji even does one in the fall. I don't know if I can double dip because this is a whip. And I do have a handful of internet knitting friends, and we're doing a fall garment make-along. So we're allowing whips to be included. So I'm really hoping to get this finished up this fall. And I will be figuring out how the heck to do the pockets. So that is another active whip that I have. Let's see here. Another whip I started that I shouldn't have started but really wanted to start is I've started a northeasterly blanket, and I really wanted to have a scrappy Sunday project. I've really been dabbling in indie dyed yarns in the last year or so, and I really have fallen in love with fingering weight. And now that I'm doing socks, I have all of these scraps and minis, and you know, if I like to do like a contrast heel toe cuff for socks. I still have quite a bit left over, so I decided to start northeasterly, purely scrappy. So I have a little bin that I'm keeping scraps in that I can pull from for contrasting things if I want. But I think over time I will be working on this northeasterly. And my goal was to only work on it on Sundays, but it is so addicting that I have found myself pulling this out when I don't want to do sock knitting in the car. And I do a lot of car knitting. My boyfriend and I were really active people. We go all over the place. We're always finding new fun things to do, and always looking for a new adventure. And I don't like to drive, and so he's always driving, and that's great. So anytime we go anywhere, I always have knitting. And I actually, really funny, if I leave the house without knitting, he's like, what about your knitting? So that's the type of support we like here on the Crafty Kristina podcast. Get yourself a supportive spouse. I will, trying to decide if I should show. Let me get into, I have another width that I just cast on, but I'm going to save that for a minute from now before I get into something even more exciting. And I'm going to show you some whips that I've started that I should probably keep working on, and I have put a lot of effort into them already, so it's too late to frog. Maybe. And just know that you are not alone, okay? If you are like me and you want to cast on all of the things, and then all of a sudden you've got this bin of stuff that you don't want to work on, you are not alone, because so do I. I'm just going to start with what's on top. And what is on top is something I was inspired to cast on and was having so much fun with, and then I don't really know what happened. I just stopped working on it, and now it's in my bin of shit. And it is, sorry, my mohair is getting tangled. Don't we love it? It is the Jigsaw puzzle by Stephen West. I really love watching Cozy Up Knits, and one of the sisters cast this on. And okay, I'm remembering why I stopped working on this actually. So I really wanted to do this from stash. I was so excited. I didn't want to buy any more yarn, and I was like, I have a bunch of crap that I don't know what I'm gonna do with. It's not really crap. It's just like, you ever just buy one skein of something and it doesn't really go with anything else, and you don't know what you're gonna do with it except for make socks, and you don't really want to make socks out of it? Because same. So I chose a color palette for this, and I really loved, let me show you. I love the way the mohair is working. I love these two together. I don't love this. This one, it's got like some browns. It's a really random skein that I got from, I think it was another mystery skein from Teeny Button, and I think it was called Sally's Pralines, and I think that it was an old Gilmore Girls collection colorway, and I love her Gilmore Girls yarn. I can't stop buying it when she has the clubs. Anyway, so I don't really love that, but I do really love this blue here with the white. So I don't know, when I first started knitting this, I was like, wow, I really hate it. Should I rip it back? And then it sat in this bin for, I don't know, 4 months. And now I'm looking at it again. Here are the two. Really fun colorways. I don't know what they are. This mohair's Teeny Button. It's like Once on This Island or something like that. This is, I don't know what. But you know where I got it? From Stephen and Penelope. Because I signed up to do the Hyber Knit Along, and I ordered a kit, and then I hated the colors when they came together, and then I never knit the shawl. Please tell me I'm not the only one. Please, because I don't want to be alone. Because if you do this, you are not alone. I do this too. Anyway, as my friend Lucy of the Sandy Knit says, I'm waffling. So I have this. I actually am really liking it after it sat in a bin. So I might just keep going, and it feels like it will be really snuggly for when it snows here. And I'm a big cranky scraping ice off of my car. So that's one. Another whip I have here is a blanket. Bernat baby. No, it's not baby. It's the blanket yarn. A couple of years ago, I discovered this yarn and I have been hooked. But I knit a blanket for my boyfriend for Christmas. And it was just a throw. And I love it so much. But I hate a throw. Don't give me a lapgan. Do not give me a throw blanket. When I sit on the couch, I always have to have a blankie. And I don't want a lapgan, okay? I want a queen or king size big blanket to wrap myself up into a burrito with. So I decided to start one for myself, and that's this. And so this has been on my needles for 2 years. 2 years. And then earlier this year, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I really want a big blankie to like lay on the couch with and knit and couch nap. And so I picked it back up, and I decided that I had this blue. I have it in here. I don't. I have this really soft, it's just garter stitch. I don't know how many stitches are on it. It's all knit stitch, and I'm going to pick it up and do like some fun blue striping whenever I feel like it. But yeah, I picked it up earlier this year, worked on it for like maybe a week, and then back in the bin it went. So again, if you do this too, you're not alone. So that's that. And I have a lot less whips than I thought I did. I'm pretty proud. Okay, so I've got two left. Three, because then I have a fun one to show you. I started this, I think it's called the Profusion Cowl. It's sitting around. It's a really easy knit, but I got bored with it, so I'm pretty much almost finished. I started this last, probably November, as a gift knit, and I never finished it, so I probably should work to finish this for Christmas this year. I think it's a paid for pattern. I can't remember, but it is on Ravelry. I'll try to link everything that I've talked about in the description below. If I missed something, please leave me a comment and let me know. I know that when I watch podcasts, I often get inspired, and so I'm always looking at the links in the description. So I will try to do that for you if you're interested. But this is all Madeline Tosh yarn, and it's fingering weight. And I think I maybe only have a couple of inches to go before I can bind it off. So that is something I need to finish, just not now. The final whip in the bin is this hot pink. I don't know why I wanted to cast this on, but I'm too far to quit now. Panel sweater thing. So I found this yarn. I thought it'd be really fun. I mean, come on, don't you want to wear a sweater that's super big and slouchy? It's off the shoulder. I don't know. I found a free pattern on Pinterest. Really uninspired with some things on Ravelry for a bit, so I was like, maybe I should go back to my Pinterest board and see if there's anything that would inspire me, or any patterns that I found that maybe weren't on Ravelry. And I found this really fun slouchy free pattern for a sweater, but it's knit in sections. So I knit the front, which is this. Again, we'll try to link it below. It's got a ribbing on the bottom, knit stitch the rest of the way, and basically you knit two of these. I have the other one knit. you knit 2 sleeves, you seam it all together, and then you pick up stitches and then knit the collar. And so it's supposed to be like you could wear like this. I think the girl in the photo was like wearing it off the shoulder. It was really cute. I thought it would be super fun to wear out, so I've got that. And I really would like to finish it. I just don't want to do the sleeves, and I don't want to seam. So I don't know when I'll finish it. I guess depending on how far I get with my garments, the pebble tunic I was showing you, and another thing I'm about to show you. I guess if I finish both of those, then I suppose I could challenge myself to finish that one. And then I would have 3 sweaters to wear. So the final thing that I wanted to show you, and then I'm going to get into another fun section of things I have to show you. I thought I might save this for next week, but I'm just too darn excited, and I want to show everything with you. And so I've decided to do that, is I did a yarn crawl. So, you know, I had mentioned that I just did a cross-country move. We literally moved back to the Pittsburgh area 2 weeks ago. And what is the first thing I did when I came back after sleeping my life away from 3 days to recover? A yarn crawl. Okay, raise your hand if that was a great idea. Raise your hand if you spent too much money. Okay, this girl. But I have so many goodies to show you, and I think I'm on a yarn diet until like next year. But the good news is I have plenty of yarn now to be doing all of the knitting. And I got a lot of really fun stuff. So I'm going to start by showing you, I think it's called the Steel Valley Yarn Crawl. Oh, let me show you. Okay, so it was 6 stores in the Pittsburgh area. I went to all 6, and I told myself that I want to discover new local dyers. Okay, so I told myself that if there was a special skein that was dyed for the store or for the crawl, I would buy it, and then I could get one other thing. One of the stores I broke it, but it's well worth it. And so you got a passport at the first store, and every store you visited, they gave away this year. I mean, how cute is this? A little bracelet and then stitch markers. So it has Steel Valley Yarn Crawl 2021. If you can see that. Put my hand here like a real influencer would. Oh my gosh, it won't focus. Whatever. So anyway, it has 2021. They also have one for 2020 because last year the crawl was canceled. So they gave stitch markers away for both. And then I got a stitch marker for every store that I went to, except one. I went to the first one and they didn't give me a stitch marker. And so I don't like the crawls, and I don't really want to be that girl, but like I have an incomplete set of stitch markers. I only have 5 and I went to 6 stores. So I don't know if I should like call or maybe go stop back and just say, hi, I didn't get a stitch marker. I don't know. I don't want to be like a Karen. Anyhow, so I don't really know if I can remember where I got everything I bought. I shoved in this bag. So we're going to really get into it. But I'm just going to show you everything that I got. And starting with a new whip. I have been wanting to make, it's a free pattern by Hedgehog Fibers. It's called the LaPouf sweater. 5 skein fade. I've been looking at it forever. And by forever, I mean like this whole year, okay? I cast it on this week. I'm in a really seriously transitional period right now, staying with the in-laws, trying to find a place to move into, and waiting to start a new job. So naturally during this time, I said I'm going to cast on a new sweater and try to finish it before I start my job and start a podcast. So This was my biggest impulse buy from the yarn crawl because I've been looking to do this sweater all year and I couldn't find colorways that I liked for it. And so don't you know, I walked in and not only was it local, but it was perfect. It was perfect. Maybe I'm being dramatic. It was perfect, okay? And so I'm going to show you the swatch of this LaPouf sweater. I could not buy this sweater fade set. Look at it. I mean, also it kind of matches my outfit today. But, I mean, hello? Don't you need a sweater like this? I do. So I bought it. And when I was at the cash register checking out, the lady was like, oh my God, that sweater is going to look so good on you. And I said, thank you. And so I did a swatch and I am almost completely through the first section. So this is how much I have. And to be honest, my goal is to finish this first section today. And what I would like to do with all of my whips is add a progress keeper. Man, this is going to be like impossible to show you. It's top down. So I'm starting with a really interesting construction up here, which has been a lot of fun. And now the rows are just getting longer because it's an increase row and then a purl row. So this is what it looks like. Let me get my face out of there and hopefully it will focus on the yarn. So anyway, I'm going to try and finish this today. That's my goal. Not the whole sweater, just the first section before I do the neckline increases. But my goal with all of my whips is to place a progress keeper on them. And then when I come back to do the next episode of the podcast, I'll be able to show you what my progress was. And I'm telling you this to hold myself accountable because your girl has a lot of socks to finish and she doesn't want to do them. Anyway, I haven't decided if this is going to be a weekly podcast or a bi-weekly podcast. But I think time will tell. Again, I'm in a really transitional phase, so maybe once things get settled in a little more, it'll be more regular. So let me show you the fade. Those are the first three. I don't know how I'm going to show you this. Maybe if I just... This is going to be awkward, okay? Just bear with me. I want to show you... Oh my God. The yarn. And then this is the final. So, I don't really know how else to show it to you, runaway yarn. But that's... This is... Plus the one that just fell. Anyway, so that's it. So my goal for this week is to get through these two colors. I'm going to try and finish this, then fade into this, and then work this color. So hopefully, if all goes well, that is where I will be in the sweater next time you see me, if not further along. So I guess I forgot to mention the needles that I'm using, but pretty much all of the needles that I've used on every project are some sort of Chalgu red lace. I'm not a knit straight, knit flat type of gal. Circular needles all the way. Chalgu red lace. I've got an interchangeable set. I've ordered way more needles than I need. And that's what I prefer to use. So moving on with the crawl. Hold on, I've got some things I need to take out. I'm just going to go through and show you what I got. I'm just going to start at the top and no rhyme or reason. The first thing that I got, let me take these receipts out so you don't need to see, is this fade kit. They had all of these beautiful scarves hung on the wall. I think this was at Swickley Yarn Store. And it is for, I had to write it down, the Annelise Scarf. I don't know if that's what I'm going to make, but come on. Okay, oops, getting a reflection. Look at those colors. Doesn't that look like a fun fall scarf? So I got these. Let me look at the colorways. I will show you this. Oh, maybe I can't. It's hard to see the colors. Let's see. I think this is Kogu Solid. Koigu. I don't know what the colorway is. I can't. They've got a sticker on it covering it up, I think. I can't see. But if for some reason I find this, anyway, I'm just gonna, if I find the color, I'll link it below. If not, sorry. So there's the first color. It's this really beautiful green. And then the next one is also a Kogu yarn. It's a painter's palette, premium merino, 50 grams. Anyway, so there's this. And I believe that the gal that was working that day told me she was making a weekender sweater out of this. So I thought that would be really pretty. The next is also a Kogu. I'm really going to look for the colorways on this, but it doesn't say. I'm so sorry. Very pretty. Really excited to see how these work up. And then this is more burnt orange, I think, than it's showing you. But, oops, there's that. The next one is this. Really pretty. And this is the final one. It's called Cold Brew. And I love coffee, especially cold brew. So I thought that was really pretty also. So that is going to be some sort of, I don't know, fall scarf. I need to find a pattern for it. I think they're all 50 grams. So I need to look for a pattern, but I know that it was meant to do the Annelise Scarf. And so they said it's on Ravelry. So I will link that pattern down below. It's really cute. It looks like a really simple and relaxing knit. So I will link that down below for you. Let's see, what else? I have this that was dyed special for the yarn crawl. I wanted to buy things that maybe would take me out of my comfort zone a little bit. This is called Box of Chocolates, and it is by Rags Fiber Arts was the store. She dyed this for the crawl, and after the first 2 days sold out completely. And so I went on, I think, a Monday morning, and she was dyeing brand new yarn that day. And so I went in and I asked her if she had anything special, and she goes, well, I just dyed it, it's drying, but I'll bring it up. And so she brought everything that she had finished dyeing that was drying up and laid it all out on the table for me, and I got to pick my own skein. So that's why it's still here on the little clippity clip. But that's this. There was a really pretty hat pattern that she had. I don't know what to make with this. You know, obviously my go-to is socks. But if you know any really pretty patterns that would work with this, leave me a comment, because I don't really know what to do with it. Let me see. The next thing that I got is Ba Yarns. Which is not local, but they partnered with Kathy's Creations for the 2021 yarn crawl, and this colorway is Kathy's Local Yarn Store 2021. And so I bought this. Again, no plans, maybe socks, I suppose, although I think it's just 100% superwash, so I do prefer to have some nylon, but it was unique to the crawl, so I bought it. And let's see, this other one that I got, the Spun Bunny, is who it is by, and the colorway is Zebra Remix, and I thought this would be some super fun socks. So it will, I think we'll do some micro striping, so it will do like this really pretty like tonal gray and then a bright rainbow. So I also got that. The next thing I bought was Fiber Nymph Dye Works in the Bounce sock. It is a self-striping yarn, which I've never worked with before, so I am oh so excited for this. These will be socks for me. Nobody else is going to get these. And it's called Customers' Favorites. So this was dyed specifically for McWalker yarns. And I mean, look how pretty these are. And so I bought that. It says 9 stripes. So these will be a socks for me at some point. And I also got, which was unique to the store, another Fiber Nymph Dye Works. And it is called Grant Avenue, Millvale. Because that is the location of the store. And so I thought this was really pretty. And they had a sample of it worked up. So I don't really know who these socks will be for. But they're pretty gender neutral, so I thought that they would be fun for like my dad or maybe my boyfriend, or maybe neither of those people. And you know, so the next thing that I got is Space Cadet yarns, which also Space Cadet is the dyer for my the fade set that I showed you with that whip. So this is the colorway Renaissance, and it is a spring 2021 limited edition, and I thought it was really pretty. It's got like this really beautiful lilac, a little bit of blue, and then it's got some greens. I thought those would be some really fun socks. So I got that there. And let's see. Another that I bought, which I also don't think is local, but I saw it and couldn't not have it, is Dream in Color yarn, Merry Voice on their Smoothly Cashmere base. Tell me you don't want to have a pair of socks out of those. Tell me you don't want socks. Because I do. I mean, come on. Super bright, super fun. Sign me up. Okay, I'm saving 2 together for last. The other that I bought, where did I buy this from? Kid You Not. One of the, I think she's one of the shop owners, Miss Naughty Yarns, dyed this colorway just for the store, and it's only at Kid You Not can you buy her yarn. And she dyed this for the yarn crawl, and it is in the colorway Lucky 21. I think this is showing up much green, like blue green, than it actually is, but it's more of like a, I mean, it really is a green. It's like St. Patrick's Day shamrocks color green. So there's that. Not sure what I'll do with that. It's a really nice tonal, so it could be socks, but I also think that this would work up really well in like a shawl. I did the West Knits mystery knit along last year, and I think I'm going to be shopping my stash to do it this year, so we'll see how that goes. The final yarns that I want to show you that are for me are from Flower Hill Fleeces, who I really am obsessed with right now. Her colorways are awesome. She's got her own shippity sheeps at her home. Like, she has a farm. She's local to the Pittsburgh area. She's got a website. I'm going to link her down below. I discovered her when one of the lady-in-laws sent me her yarn for their socks, which was that really pretty, like, pumpkin spice looking color. I mean, it is just beautiful. And so she dyed this specifically for Yarn by Designs in Oakmont. And it is for the yarn crawl, and it is called Aquagani 2.0. This is a DK base, so it could be socks. I've never done DK socks, but there was a sample knit of this tank top with one skein of this, and it looked so cute. And I thought, you know, with my skin tone and my eyes, maybe this would look really pretty. So I got this, and then the other thing that I bought, she had a mini set that is called Aquagani Deconstructed, and so I'm not going to take it out of the package, but these are all of the colors that were in that Aquagani skein. So I thought these would be really fun, like color block socks. There's a pattern on Ravelry I've wanted to make. I can't remember what they're called, color palette or something, and I thought these would make really cute color palette socks. So that's probably what this will be used for. So that is what I got for myself, but in honor of this being my first ever podcast, I decided that I might do a giveaway. So rules are simple. I will ship to you. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. And anyone who comments will be entered for the giveaway. I'm going to keep this giveaway open for 2 weeks. So, depending on whether or not, I do an episode next week, it'll be, if I do a weekly episode, it'll be 2 episodes from now, but I'll be posting that on my Instagram when I announce the giveaway. So if you'd like to be entered, leave a comment down below and follow me on Instagram. And yeah, 2 weeks. So today is, well, my battery on my watch died. Anyway, 2 weeks from today, the day that this goes up, I will be closing the giveaway. But I wanted to offer something special for my new audience, and that is all of you. And so one of the shops that I went to was doing a mystery grab bag. And I thought that would be really fun to share something from my journey. So I got a mystery grab bag. I will show you all of the things that were inside and that come with it, because I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really beautiful. So finish my coffee before it gets cold. It came with quite a few things. And let me start by sharing. So if you win the giveaway, you'll get 4 skeins. And I'm going to butcher this yarn name. Gedifra? I really don't know. It is a, what is it? It is, oh, here it is. 50 gram skein. There are 4 of these, 67% virgin wool, 18% viscose, and 15% polyamide. Really, really pretty. It's got this nice gray. It's got a little bit of brown, blues, greens. There's some purple in it. And I've got 4 of those. So 4 of those will come to you. It also came with a pattern. Open it up here. It has enough yarn to make a leafy green bag. I know a lot of people are really into, you know, staying sustainable, and reusable bags are really popular right now. So I thought that was a really great pattern. Whether it's for you or for someone you love. Holidays are coming. Would be a really great gift knit for a loved one. Also came with a design magazine, and there are quite a few patterns in here that you could also, if you didn't want to make the bag, that you could also, you know, leaf through and see if you find a pattern you could use the yarn for instead. And it also came with this super cute shawl pin. So that will be the giveaway closing 2 weeks from today, when the day the video goes up. And again, to enter, all you need to do is comment down below. It could be any comment, and make sure that you are following me on my Instagram, because that is where I will be announcing the giveaway winner. So that is pretty much all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I've had so much fun, and I hope that this podcast will allow you to have another internet friend to knit with. I really love knitting podcasts. I find myself watching at least one every single day. I do it while I'm getting ready in the morning. Sometimes I do 30 minutes of knitting. Watch a podcast while I do that. And again, I'm really excited to have you. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you stick around. I'd really love to have you. Anything I mentioned today, I will have linked in the description down below. And where you can find me on Ravelry as kraftykristina. You can also find me on Instagram as kraftykristina, crafty with a K, Kristina with a K, 2 A's at the end on Instagram. 1A, regular kraftykristina, just like my YouTube name on Ravelry. And if you would like to send me an email for any reason, you can also reach me at kraftykristina@gmail.com. So thank you so much for tuning in. Drop a comment down below, and if you'd like to be entered into the giveaway. And I will see you next time. Bye.